I went to the zoo yesterday.
Oh, we're started.
Yeah. It was really
Was
cool.
this whole last conversation being recorded?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which zoo?
The Omaha Zoo.
Oh,
The big boy.
The Henry Dorley, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, something like
Henry
that.
something, yeah.
I remember thinking, oh, that guy seems important, and then I totally forgot his name. Tabitha Panis recommended a coffee shop. My wife and I went. I loved my drink. She didn't like it. Yeah, it was good.
Really?
Yeah.
Way to put Tabitha on blast there.
No. No, it was a cool little coffee shop. That downtown center, that is really cool.
Yeah, are you talking about the part where they've taken an old part? We went there with Joy once. And
It was like brick paved roads
they've
and these
really
old
fixed
buildings.
it up.
Yeah, that was super cool. But at the zoo, I'm conflicted between this is so flipping cool and it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad seeing a lion just laying on a rock, being like, oh, you can't do anything.
Yeah, I have very conflicting thoughts about it. I think what it's probably good for is you view those animals as ambassadors to humans who are really good at destroying habitat and the things that live there.
Yeah.
And it helps them connect with these animals and say, you know what? I kind of like lions. You know what? I kind of like chimps. I kind of like, you know what? I think I will, be a little more thoughtful when it comes to conservation issues and things. And so I think that's a purpose, and especially developing that line of thinking in kids, because kids love zoos.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're so charismatic. They take all the charismatic species and just put them in one place.
Right.
I wonder if we took all the money we do for zoos in an area and just build a large ecosystem that was there already. Take all the zoos of the southeastern, technically rainforest, according to how much rain they get, like Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, and build a haven that they could go through. I don't know. Neil
that
Smith
doesn't count as rainforest down there, does it?
Not foliage. It's how much rain they get. Yeah. Or that's what my friend who's from Alabama. We were in the car. It was flash flooding around us, and his brother, as a cop, was like, "Yeah, technically, we're considered rainforest because of how much rain we get."
I'd have to see that confirmed,
because
we do have rainforest in the United States, just up in Pacific Northwest. Temperate rainforest.
Interesting, because they get those giant water currents that come and dump on them.
When I was on my bear hunt back in 2022, that wasn't technically. I don't think it was in that region, but it was. I mean, it's northwest Montana, so it's on the outside edge. Nick's doing some research right now.
Yeah, he's got to do some quick cover.
I think it's a weird coastal biome or ecosystem classification down there for.
No, it's not biome, just classification of how much rain it gets.
Oh, so he's saying we get
strictly
the same,
based on.
We're not saying we're not a rainforest ecosystem or biome. We're just we get the same amount of rainfall as the rainforest. That's what he's saying.
I think so, but I don't know. There might be classifications of how much rain a place gets, and one of them might be rainforest. Is rainforest a biome? I don't know. It's a little out of my ecosystem.
Welcome to the Prairie Farm Podcast here. Yeah. A definitive opinion on rainforests.
when I was in Montana, which is a very short window of time, right? 1 week. But it literally rained every single day for off and on. And it'd be all of a sudden be sunny for a while, and then another storm. It was actually quite annoying because you'd always be pulling your rain gear on and off and sweating like a pig under that rain gear.
Sounds like a rainforest to me. Yeah. Sounds like everywhere that gets more than 3 inches of rain is a rainforest.
You know what? I think we're a rainforest here. We've had all this rain for the last...
Dude, I don't ever know if I'm excited about when it pours rain or not excited. Although Sunday, what did we get here? Because in Knoxville, we got an inch and almost an inch and a half. And
my rain gauge tipped over at my house, which is annoying.
I think I got an inch and a half, maybe.
Okay, so it probably was an inch and a half here. Judd said he got 3 inches in Illinois, just shy of 3 inches.
Yeah.
But I like those rains. Not pouring rain. It just is steady rain for,
that's
it's 5 hours.
That's the best for what's growing.
Man. All right. Well, we'll figure this out later. What is a rainforest? We'll look it up. We'll look it up another coffee time and actually have some answers on what's going on
what
in the Southeast.
classifies.
But we should get started. Coffee Time Wednesdays with the Prairie Farm Podcast.
Can't hit us with the jingle.
Do-do-do-do-do.
At Hoxie Native Seeds, our mission is to provide native seed and education for landowners and land managers that care about their ground. So the education, we're doing that through the podcast and interviewing experts and the stuff we put out through our website. But the native seed that we provide, whether we grew it or we work with other producers that grew it, we are here to provide that for you. It's what keeps the lights on for us, and it's what we love to do. Most of our seeds grown right here on our farm, HoxieNativeSeeds.com. Oh, and if you need a little help with consultation, not sure what to put on your ground, we would be happy to help you with that as well. Give us a call, HoxieNativeSeeds.com. Welcome back to the Prairie Farm Podcast, Coffee Time Wednesday. I'm your favorite host, Nicholas Lirio, with favorite co-host, Kent Boucher.
Hey.
Favorite co-host to the coast, Riley Rosendahl.
Howdy.
I heavily debated not even having a topic today because of the harrowing adventures of our last week and a half, but we should at least touch on it. We're harvesting some stuff and we're having a time. Kent, you want to tell them about it?
Well, honestly, all things considered, it's been pretty mild.
Yeah, compared to last
year.
So we got the first half of the field harvested with a direct cut combine, which is a new method for harvesting this species, and it went great. Great yield, machine was working well, and then the rear drive on the combine. So combine can really be, I mean, you could break it down to all sorts of what's happening here, classifications, but I kind of view it as front and back. In the front, you have the pickup of the product going towards the cylinder to be threshed, right? And it's going to knock the seed off the plant. And then the back half of the combine is after it's hit the cylinder, it's all right, let's gather this seed that we knocked off the plant and then let's send it where it's supposed to go. And then all the waste, let's evacuate that out of the
I wish
machine.
It was all the waste. I mean, it's like 90% of it, but man.
Yeah, there's still plenty of chaff and stuff that
I can only think of
through, but
one time ever we harvested something and it just was so good we just tested it and
we used to be able to do that with prairie June grass.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing.
But we did it multiple years like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the last few years there's been enough other stuff creeping in that we've had to.
Yeah,
I have Garrett out right now trying to keep that from being a problem right now at this very moment. So yeah, the all the straw walkers and the web where it pulls the good seed on the bottom of the combine into the clean grain auger and elevator, that all shut down and got very, very hot because it was just a shaft spinning inside of a sprocket. And I made the mistake of touching that shaft and burned my fingers. And that's when I realized this is a bigger problem than I thought I was looking at. So big that I haven't solved it yet. I don't even know what I got to do to solve it yet. I ran into Gaylord at an Allis Chalmers show on Saturday, though.
That is where you would find Gaylord.
Chatted with him about it. But
what'd he say?
He basically talked me down the road that I was already going on. And
for context on this guy named Gaylord, he is the builder of our native seeders. Like, he actually built them after Dad designed them. He was this legend of a welder at a nearby manufacturing place, decided to retire, and for fun, over the last 20 years...
Welder-Fabricator.
Yeah, true. Welder-Fabricator. And for fun, over the last 20-ish years, he has built... Is it one quarter?
It's half or third scale.
Yeah, half or third scale Allis Chalmers tractors with running motors and full all crop combine, not full, but like third scale all crop combines to pull along, just to have them. Because this man loves.
So in other words, those aren't parts you can go and buy.
Yeah,
you make them.
Yeah,
you manufacture all the parts.
He rebuilt those. Well, I think he used like old mower engines and stuff for the actual tractors, but every single part that you could have on there, he built. Piece by piece.
Yeah, he's incredibly talented. So, anyways, that meant then that, direct cut harvest is now out of the question. We've also been having the stresses of rain that have just been almost every other day. It's rained significantly.
Yeah.
And we were losing some seed to the rain already. You could see it on the ground in the field, which is why I went ahead and just did the direct cut harvest. And thankfully, the other half of the field, which was planted at a different time and with a different method, was just a tad bit behind in maturity from the half that I'd already harvested. And because we knew we were just kind of like screwed, we had rain coming, and I was like, well, maybe we should just go ahead. And we know we lose seed with it standing. Let's just go ahead and get it down the windrow. Maybe if it'll get punched out by the rain still, but it'll stay trapped in the windrow and we can still get most of it. So Riley was kind enough to go out and swath that for me. But before that, he helped me resurrect another combine from the dead that maybe we should say pull it off of life support, because Alex already helped me put in a whole new, I just call it like a shaker shoe. It's like you have 3 sieves and really a screen or another sieve that goes underneath those 2 top sieves, adjustable sieves. And we just pulled this combine that was on life support was missing all of that. All of it was gone. It was pulled out of the combine. And so Alex and I went and pulled one out of another parts combine, put it in there. And I put a new belt on for the serpentine on the back for all the straw walkers and clean grain and tailings augers on the back, and I thought it was going to be good to go. But the pickup head on the front of it was not good to go. Something internal is wrong with that pickup head. So Riley and I we tried messing with it for a little bit, realized we were getting nowhere, and it wasn't going to get better without some significant work. Honestly, probably work that would require it to be removed from the combine and torn into.
Yeah.
And so we're like, well, we know where we have one combine that has a working pickup head.
Yeah.
And it was the one that we were using last year that is currently broken. So we stole that pickup head from that combine, slapped it on, did all this in one afternoon. I mean, we were working pretty fast, and we got it all hooked up, and got Canada anemone harvested, and then just finished up this week harvesting Bicknell sedge. Worked like a dream.
Yeah.
And Riley did an excellent job swathing. And I'm also a huge fan of, even though I hate using herbicide, Prowl H2O just did wonders for us this year and keeping our fields clean.
It was very clean.
Yeah. We only collectively had one mental breakdown. That was good. That was a good time. That was me on Thursday at 7:45 at night. I called Kent and I said, I'm not okay. I'm not coming into work on Monday.
Yeah.
And I worked a long day Friday and Saturday.
I would say those kind of problems are basically par for the course around here, just because we use old equipment, which is paid off and fully owned by us. We have no worries of right to repair or anything like that. You have the right to repair.
In fact, you couldn't find someone else to repair it if you wanted to.
Yeah. You assume those rights when you operate this ancient equipment. So I would say that's pretty well par for the course. What wasn't so much par for the course was the planting equipment nightmares that have been upon us. And that's why Nick was here until 9:00.
Oh, man. Well, and it was like,
I think you were here super late a couple nights, weren't you? Because there was problems on multiple nights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we didn't have a podcast last week because we had that part 2 come out, but a tree fell on my mom's house and punched a hole in one of the bedrooms and then part of one of the bathrooms. It was just, so my siblings and I came over and we all like put all our stuff in tubs and all this other stuff. The power was out. There was a giant tree on the ground. We had trying to figure that out. And then Judd, well, what it was last year, we were late to planting. We just had all this other stuff going on. We just couldn't get to it.
Well, it's because Carol normally did the planting and liked doing the planting.
Yeah, he just wasn't feeling good enough.
Right, and you hate to take that away from him.
Yeah,
when he has very few things at that point that he enjoyed.
Yeah, and so we were just late. We were late, and I remember that feeling, like finishing the planting on like June 27th, right, and being like, ugh, I hate, this is too late. It's too close to the deadline. I don't like it. Now it rained enough last year. I'm not worried about any of that stuff, but the risk gets greater. And so this year we were like, all right, Judd, you're doing the planting. You're going to start this time. Well, two things happened. Judd had a close family member that had a medical issue that was just couldn't do anything about. And so he was out for about a week and a half for that. And then it just rained. And then it would dry, just kind of barely, but then it would rain again. And so Judd is literally driven back and forth from Illinois to Iowa over and over again. Like, you think it's dry enough now? And we're finishing up. Actually, by the time you hear this, we're probably done with it. But we had started like 2 months ago, and so the rain.
Well,
so
we just had a lot. We had a lot to plant this year too. A lot of acres.
Yeah, and a lot of places to go, and so. That was good, but the planting harvest overlap is a lot, right? And so my job is not being in charge of either of those things, is trying to make sure they all run smoothly and whose operation is the most important. Does everyone need to drop everything to help Kent today? Does everyone need to drop everything to help Judd? So you have all that stuff, and in the middle of it, Riley's just trying to get seed mixed.
Yeah, I'm just doing me things.
Riley was just doing his job.
Riley was having flashbacks when we were jacking with that combine.
Oh, I was having the time of my life. I was like, man, this is like last September when we worked until 9 or 10 o'clock for multiple nights in a row.
A lot of nights.
Well, I think one night I got home a little after midnight when we dealt with
this.
Right?
Yep.
But that's you do it because you love it, and you take breaks. So I called Kent and I said, I'm not okay. I'm taking a break. Went to the Omaha Zoo with my wife. We had a great time. But so we've done Prairie spiderwort, Bicknell sedge, Canada anemone, halfway, a third of the way with Ohio.
One of our fields was further along than our other one this year for Ohio spiderwort, so I already swathed that on Friday. And then Prairie June grass is going to be ready some point this week. Of course, I got to swath that other field of Ohio spiderwort. I might actually wait till tomorrow. It's very, very calm today, and it definitely needs some more time.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do that tomorrow for swathing, and then it'll be time to hook up the chopper to the 7010 and start pitching Ohio onto wagons, and time to teach Garrett and Grant what it's like to climb those tiny little ladders on the side of a wagon with a pitchfork in between your teeth like a pirate climbing up the side of
I always preferred the old throw it in the wagon and then climb up.
My wife has this theory that everyone always has a certain percentage look to them that matches a pirate. Right, so when she's got gold hoop earrings, and she's got like her sports bandana on, she's like, I'm at like 35% right now. You know what I mean? Or like poofy pants with like a weird blouse vest. She's like, I'm at like 60% pirate look today. You know what I mean? So I feel like having a pitchfork in your mouth, carrying
it's like when you came wearing your clothes that you'd gone to the Renaissance fair in, and you made fun of my shirt, not because anything was wrong with my shirt, but it's just so I couldn't make fun of your shirt.
And it worked. It worked.
Carol and I were working on something in the shop, and the doors are wide open, and Nick just pulls up, and he's, your shirt, brother, like instantly. Holy cow, he's out of the gate fast this morning.
I had probably had coffee. Yeah. Also, with all the rain this spring, I thought it would be interesting to note 2022 was the first year of La Nina. La Nina is supposed to be wetter. Very dry. Very, very dry in the Midwest. This is the first year.
I thought El Nino was the wet year.
I literally just looked it up because I was like, maybe I'm getting this mixed up. El Nino, it depends on what region you're in. The Midwest specifically, El Nino is supposed to be drier. And it's a very wet, this might be the wettest spring we've had in a really long time.
No, last year was
more wet.
Well, maybe last year's
I think we just got a downpour.
No, we got tons of rain last year.
Okay, I could be wrong,
but yeah, it's been pretty steady though this spring.
I just thought it was so interesting that it was like really wet and the time that it was supposed to be dry. And then,
although I would say in May we probably came close. We probably started flirting April, May, flirting with drought status. It got real dry,
but it was very wet. The late winter, early spring here in the Midwest, kind of interesting. But Larry Weber, he talked about. He's like, well, Iowa, like if things keep changing how it is, the Midwest will actually get more rain.
Wait, are you talking about climate change? How dare you? We've debunked that.
Totally. You could tell by the Atlantic.
Quit getting triggered over a term, people.
Yeah. Kent is feisty today. But so Dr. Larry Weber was like, we'll actually probably get more rain in less days, so we'll get more downpours. Kind of interesting.
Yep.
All right. Topic today, dairy farms. We don't know that much about dairy farms, and to be honest, we don't talk about them very much, but I thought this was interesting. June 2026, the federal government throws the dairy farms a little bit of a lifeline, and they give language, they change language so that H2As can use, or dairy farms can use H2As in their as their labor for close to year-round labor. The thing with H2As is they have to be very seasonal.
You're using an acronym here.
Oh, sorry.
H2A.
H2A basically means that you can have immigrants come in.
Migrant workforce, right?
Yep. Very short visa form. And there has to be a very distinct beginning of when their season starts and a very distinct end. It doesn't have to be a date, but it could be the first ripening of a broccoli and the last day the onions are ready, or whatever. It has to be very set in stone. The problem with dairy farms is that
it's year round.
Yep, exactly. Now, they changed the language to allow not year round, but I believe up to 10 months and where farmers can say, hey, forage, chopping forage is a season where that could be included, or planting things could be a season where they're actually able to have more labor for most of the year. There are different tasks on it, but milking the cows every morning and every evening, that does not count. And so they can milk the cows while they're here, but that can't be the set.
There's still 2 months that they're so my guess is the way those large dairies are going to operate is they're going to stagger people in their employment.
This just happened June 2026, so I'm not sure what they're thinking or what their strategy is. And again, it's not really our part of the country. There's no dairy farms around us. We don't have.
That's not entirely true. I go to church with a guy who runs.
There's a dairy farm in Sully.
But there's no big milk route. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. Well, they're selling somewhere. I don't fully understand it. After talking with Derek and him talking about how you can, if you don't get set up for being a big enough producer of milk, the milk truck ain't coming.
Yeah. Or
so there's that. You have to keep up with it.
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
your neighbors having milk greatly decrease your cost of the truck swinging by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, there was a couple. I think there was a couple high schoolers when we were in high school that had a dairy farm 20 minutes from us, and they were just a family that had a little old dairy farm, and they loved it. But but here's the thing: the projections of profit in 2026 for dairy have gone down from 70. This is according to the Farm Journal. 74% to 46% profit difference. That's monstrous. And their profit that they're talking about is not net profit. They're not talking about how much they have in their bank account at the end of the year. They're talking about the difference between cost of goods and what they get paid, which is, for everyone, that's gross profit. That doesn't include all the admin. It doesn't include all the taxes. It's not EBITDA. And so what they're having to do, so they're getting squeezed really bad. Well, then all of a sudden, right, we've got migrant working issues, right? And a lot of the under the table migrant workers aren't doing that anymore. And then I want to find it. Someone did a great breakdown that I read Bovine.
Wait, so the under the table migrant employment, that's just a result of the immigration crackdown that's happened in the last, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Last spring, was it 2025? Basically that, everything going on there, either people aren't willing, they're going back, something's going on where now the labor isn't coming through. The Bovine, is a dairy industry publication, and they had Bovine. They had a really, really interesting article that said when you add up how much it costs for the immigration workers, and then how much it costs to hire someone to do it. Immigrant workers are $25.29 per hour. Mind you, they're only getting a little over 2/3 of that. Everything else goes to fees, whether it's the broker that got them for you. There's all these state taxes and fees, and then you have to house them. And whereas the average laborer in the United States to work on them is 26.83. What it didn't talk about in that article, which I thought was very interesting, was how hard it is to find anybody who's willing to work 5 to 7 days a week at 3:30 in the morning, for 6 hours or whatever, to get your cows through. We wouldn't even be talking about this if dairy farmers set their own prices. There's obviously great cons to that. The reason this is a crisis is because their prices are kind of set in a marketplace. It's super complicated. The government's involved in the bottom half, and commodities are involved at the top, or not the baseline of what you can't legally pay less than that for milk. But there's a top line that's kind of set by, it's not technically a commodity, but a commodity practices. And it is super complicated. I was like reading all about it, and I was trying to break it down simply. I couldn't. I didn't fully understand, but it involves like how much processing goes into it. If this milk is going to be cheese, kind of averaged out by how much of it ends up being on the shelf for milk, based on average, like fuel prices are involved for trucking it around. Like there's all this stuff, and that goes into like what the price is set at. And now there is some variance in there, but for the most part, it's not very much. It's within a percentage point or two for most dairy farmers on varying from this number set by the USDA. And so it wouldn't be an issue if you could say, okay, well, we need to raise the wage to $38 an hour to get people who are willing to do this. And milk's going to cost $7.50 a gallon, or, $10 a gallon, or whatever it's going to be. But they can't do that. They can't do that unless they want to sell it all at farmers markets, right? And who's got a dairy operation where they're excited to go to a farmers market and sell right after they got done milking those cows in the morning, and then knowing they got to go back home and milk those cows again, and then tomorrow they got to chop forage. Like, I feel for dairy farmers. I believe we should be paying double what we pay for milk, because they work very, very hard. Go back and listen to our interview with Derek. But I thought this was so interesting in how the H2As actually factored into this, where they're not actually that much cheaper. It's more of a headline thing, like, oh, hey, no, we care, we want to make sure that you guys have the labor, but the truth of the matter is we don't want to do the work for the price that the market has set it at, so we either need to stop having it or we need to pay more for it.
I think and right now more expensive groceries is a kind of like climate change, a triggering thing to talk about.
Yeah.
But and I get that. I have 4 kids, and I work in the conservation industry, so I'm not swimming in cash.
Every other day, they all get to have a meal. It's awesome.
I think if we all asked ourselves, would you be okay with not having access to milk and milk products?
When I was in college, I worked for a marketing company, and it was a small marketing company, and my boss, he was a really cool guy, and I remember him taking me to lunch one day and telling me, Nicholas, the most important thing you'll do in business is name your company. I don't know if that's true or not, but you better believe I was blown away when I met the company Iowa Cover Crop. I mean, it's a brilliant name, but it's a little misleading, because you might think, oh, okay, they do cover crops. But they actually do a lot more than cover crops. Basically, if it's not corn and beans, they probably have it. You're talking about grains, alfalfas, lawn mixes, cover crop mixes, forage mixes. They do all sorts of things. In fact, they even have CRP and native mixes. I really like the people who provide those for them. If you are looking for anything that's not corn and beans and seed and you're in Iowa or a state touching Iowa, I highly, highly recommend looking into Iowa Cover Crop. That's iowacovercrop.com. Oh, and they have a new podcast. I really enjoy it. They didn't ask me to put this in the ad. I just wanted to because I've really enjoyed their podcast. Super informational. If you're looking to learn more about cover crops for your farm and how they can apply for your specific situation, you're going to want to check it out. It's called Under the Covers. Again, that's iowacovercrop.com.
We would all, I mean, almost everybody would be, no, I'm not okay with that. I mean, when you start thinking, I think there's a lot of people that don't just drink straight up milk. I do. I drink a lot of milk.
It makes me sick.
It does?
Yeah,
Really?
I can't do it. I get like a gnarly headache right away, and my Asian body cannot handle
Must
milk.
take a lot of ice cream sandwiches to hit that threshold. But
It's true.
but ice cream, cheese, I mean, so many products that I think we would, if the choice was, yeah, I mean, we can't, dairy farmers can't exist anymore because the bottom line is not something that makes sense, then I think we would all be devastated by not having those products. So,
I agree.
So for me, I would be more than happy to pay twice as much for my cheese, my milk products, or just like jugs of milk. You know, I'd ice cream even. I'd double it for sure. Now, there's other things that I think would be easier to replace. That maybe it is worth fighting over the margins a little bit on, but milk I don't think is one of them.
I agree. I totally agree.
And to try and say, I mean, because let's say all of a sudden beef just got so expensive, what could all of us do right here if beef got so expensive? What would probably be the simplest thing to do?
Buy cattle.
No,
Like
I'd say just go hunting.
Go go
like,
pork or chicken or
no. Well, yeah, but also like if you really wanted that red lean meat, you just go hunting, right? I'm going to be very dedicated to all of a sudden.
I can't. I don't
Nicholas
think
is
I
not
could
going
get
hunting.
one. And if I wanted to, and I'm not allowed to buy it from you.
If you went and joined some group of guys that are doing a big deer drive,
Really?
Yeah.
Is it easy to get a deer? Like if you just go in rifle season.
If you dedicate yourself to like becoming somewhat proficient at getting within 100 yards of deer, yes.
Would you, if I followed your instructions, would you bet $10,000 that I could get a decent shot on a deer? Any deer that would
By the end of the season?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
I was thinking it'd be harder than that, but I mostly hang out with.
I think
hunters.
it'd be way harder to for the average person to take on a cow into their everyday life. I mean, most people live in a city.
that's fair.
You know what I mean? It's not happening.
I just thought I'd have people here at Hoxie and Have Seeds take care of that cow for me.
I just think that, and so whereas for milk, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
you gotta take a dairy cow, and it's not just like, well, I guess I'll buy a cow. No. That cow's got to be lactating, and you gotta keep it lactating, and there's only one way, and that involves baby cows. So now you got more cows to worry about, and I think
How was that section in biology class when you had to teach a kid?
I'd usually use one of my sick days. Leave it to the sub.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
that's a it's something that would be very, very hard to replace. Nature doesn't really provide another avenue, unless you like possum milk or something, I suppose.
That's just horrifying to think about. I wonder if I don't know. I don't know what to think about it, except like maybe we just need to pay more. And now I do think there are very large dairy companies that make a lot of margin, and we've talked about that like on Barron's and stuff. The book Barron's, he talks about that quite a bit. Austin Frerick coming back on the podcast, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It'd be good to see him.
It'll be a few months, but yeah, he's excited to. We were chatting about it. He's coming out with a new book. But
Awesome.
So that's true, but the truth is those companies are huge because they produced milk for I think there were some behind the scenes poor practices, but also they were able to produce milk for cheaper. That's how they got an advantage in the marketplace to begin with.
Yeah.
And so if you take out all the big players, which we talk about there's a lot of pros to that. The con is things are going to be way more expensive. And so I don't know. And I mean, after seeing Derek's operation and just hearing behind the scenes and hearing how much work him and his family, him and his dad are doing, I'm like, oh my goodness, I couldn't do it. I physically wouldn't be able to do it. I would choose bankruptcy over doing that for years and years, you know?
And Riley, you could probably back me up on this one, being a guy who was a livestock guy for a long time. The importance of helpful neighbors who are willing to take over chores for somebody like Derek, so that he can go on 1 week of vacation a year, you know, with his family or something. I've thought about that a lot of times with just getting to know my grandpa better from a farming standpoint, asking him questions and stuff, and realizing just how much work it was. And if your family was going to go on vacation, your brother, your neighbor did all their chores, and then when they were done with all their chores, they came over and did all your chores. So they had to chore 4 times a day for a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a huge commitment. Now, the payoff was then they could go on their vacation because you were going to chore 4 times a day for a week. But I think that's another way, not just with our dollars, but if you're living out in the country a little bit, or the edge of town, or the burbs or something, you got a local farmer there that you're kind of friends with. That's another great way to help out, other than just buying their products. Like help their operation work. And this would be a great time to pitch sharing the land as well. That's kind of the idea. Is there's a lot we all like the ideas of farms sticking around and not turning into another housing development. We like the idea of people who are doing something different on the land are able to make it work. Sharing land is a great way to pitch in and then get to enjoy some, hunting or fishing or gathering mushrooms or sheds or whatever that you want to do in that countryside, in that ecosystem. But I think it's just another way when, we talk a lot about having our cake and eating it too, to be totally hands off and say, man, I sure hope the milk doesn't dry up in my refrigerator.
Yeah.
Like it's dollars for sure is number one. But I think, trying to be an encouragement to someone like Derek and going and choring for him for a week so he can get away.
Well,
so when he hits his Omaha Zoo, Waterloo, like you hit the other night, he just has to go, well, I'll be back tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Riley, sorry.
I was just going to say, for anybody who has never owned livestock, I would say compare it. If you have like a dog now, imagine your life before you had a dog or kids.
Yeah.
And then what it's like with a dog. And then imagine what it would be like if that animal's entire existence is to hide any sign of being ill or in pain because of a herd instinct.
Yeah.
That for 10,000 years, something that looked sick would get picked off. So you're day in, day out, responsible for something like that.
And it's you have a ton of money invested into it.
Yeah. So it's not. I wish it was as simple as everybody could just go out and get their milk cow or whatever. And
it's a huge investment.
It's a commitment. It's a commitment.
Learning to hunt would be way easier.
Yeah.
Dairy farmers are truly actually doing like feeding of the Midwest around here. I mean, I wonder how much of the cheese that comes from the Midwest hits its way to overseas and stuff. But
it sounds like you just came up with a new coffee time topic.
I'm pretty sure I remember, like I had a bunch of charts a couple weeks ago when we did Does the Midwest Feed the World? Because I was like, I'm gonna get this right, and dairy's in there, so I could just look it up. But it was a much smaller percentage than the calories produced out of corn and beans.
Yeah.
But the what's interesting is the immigration visa workers, which do all of the fruits and vegetables you buy at big chains. They do a lot of the dairy. They do a lot of, I don't know what percentage, I think it's less, but I know of many ranches that have them there when they're, on these large ranches out west. And we don't want to pay more for food. But then when these farmers, like that lady I was talking about a few weeks ago on social media, who was like, yeah, we can't find anyone to work for us. And everyone was like, cause you're not paying enough. That was like their first assumption. And she never, if I remember correctly, she never said how much she actually paid them.
Guilty as charged. I'm kidding.
It's like, okay, that's fine. You could double, and those people deserve to get paid good money for making our food.
Well, and
we don't want to pay them.
I would argue that, I mean, unless you're just, if you're truly an indoorsy kind of person, where like you don't like, you despise the thought of dirt under your fingernails and a stain on your shirt, then yeah, you probably would find no other reward other than a paycheck in helping out with farm work. But if you're somebody who's like, yeah, I like being outside, I like being on a tractor, or I like running a skid loader, or I like solving problems, I like being around animals. There's so much more than just a paycheck, and we understand that with well-paying jobs. You're like, I don't care what they pay me, I'd never do that job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so our brain does that calculus in that direction. We'll do it in the other direction too. Maybe I'm not getting a huge hourly wage, but I get to do this for a job, and I think you'd find it to be quite rewarding. A lot of people in our audience, I think, would find it to be quite rewarding to find a way to, if you can't have your own farm, work on one.
Yeah, absolutely. The farms that I know of that are still small would love to have someone just working a little bit or helping a little bit, whether they're young or old. What's kind of interesting is when farms need labor, they need labor. Yeah. So there's all this conversation about like, what we talked about with Chase Brown. He was like, I don't know, all the people who come in and help us during harvest season, they're 75 years old. Yeah. What's going to happen when they're gone? And
yeah, a really interesting story that you can follow along with on social media. I've never talked to the guy. We've talked about reaching out to him to do a podcast. We haven't done that yet. We should. Maybe somebody out there knows him. Tristan Schwartz from the Doing It Wrong Dairy page. I think it's only on Facebook. I don't think it's on Instagram. Excellent follow. And there's a guy who just wanted to be around farming, so he found his way into it, and now he runs a dairy farm in kind of north central Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. But just truly doing what you're talking about, the seasonal stuff. From what I know of him, I've heard him in an interview on, I think, Farm for Profit he was on, and he used to run, a team of, like when he was in high school, he owned his own combine and would go and participate in the summer wheat harvests out west, and just kind of built up his experience and finances, and then eventually bought his own farm and does that full time and has for quite a while. And I think he's actually the same age as me. He looks like he's about 65, but it turns out he's like, 36 going on 65.
Man. Those guys are interesting that just make it through. But I don't know. I don't know what to think about the dairy thing. I do know that, the only way to make something truly cheaper without just paying someone less is technological advancement. And there's tons of good technological advancement. There's almost always, there's a cons list. And sometimes that cons list is a lot longer that we don't know about for 20 years. That cons list is really long.
This is what that led to.
And I would say the majority of the time that you hear about that, it's like, truly didn't know. But, shortcuts they're shortcuts. And I don't know, like, if we just need to be leaning into the robots, the like Lely Dairy coming in, robots, no humans needed at all, basically.
Oh, so you're saying since we can't come up with the labor, let's just invent our way out of labor kind of idea?
We could come up with the labor if we doubled the price of milk. Because then,
But you're saying if we just want to stay status quo with where things are right now, but still have milk in our fridge. Yeah. Like that, you're just workshopping out what that has to be.
These giant cow factories that are like, that seems to be our only other option. Because what the United States isn't going to let Fairlife go bankrupt when they do like 23% of the milk in the United States or something like that. You know what I mean? I made that number up, but so it's like, we want our milk. We're willing to run over other people to make sure it stays the same price. And by other people, I mean the people actually milking the cows, the ones doing the hard work. Because if we gave them a raise to $35 an hour, which is probably what they're worth to our, society, then or more, then as long as it doesn't touch the price of my milk in my fridge, then it's all good. Yeah. And so if we want to follow that logic, I feel like our option is like robots and, in the fields, which people hate the idea of, and that's fine. Are we okay with more expensive milk? Would we rather have more expensive milk or robots? I don't know.
It's probably going to be a combination of both.
Yeah, we get more expensive milk.
I hate to break it to you. Yeah, well, the only other thing that really is going to reduce costs, which, I mean, it's fully possible. We've seen energy prices increase 40%, 42%. If that were to go down, that will at least bring dairy farmers back to thinner margin. Right, or it'll give them back some of that thin margin at least, because that's the gut punch right there.
But even still, I mean, they have a lot of equipment they're running with electricity and stuff in their operation, but as far as like a fuel consumption, they're probably one of the lower consumers of fuel when it comes. I mean, they got haying season and stuff like that, but they're not doing a ton of field work. My point is, even if those prices come down, it probably isn't. Those energy costs come down. It's probably not going to be as felt by them as it would be a big corn and bean operation.
The two things I can think of in the dairy space are haying season, obviously, and then your transport costs.
Oh, for like
for pickups, for whoever comes and picks up your milk. I don't know.
Yeah, but one truckload of milk versus one truckload of corn is going to be the same amount of fuel. So that would be a net wash if we're comparing it to corn and beans. But it's not nothing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. And if you have a bunch of robots, that's a lot of energy. Like
electrical,
Yeah, so now you really need solar on each one of your giant, buildings.
Which isn't free.
Nope. Now, I think human ingenuity is brilliant and we can solve this problem, but just can't have your cake and eat it too all the time. So
yeah, my fear is that the average dairy farm already probably has a lot of debt just because now that is something that is very infrastructure heavy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
As far as like having all the holding tanks, you got to keep everything sanitary. You got to
equipment.
Have tons of different types of equipment, big sheds. All these things that you don't have to have on a corn and bean operation. And I think they even have more infrastructure than like a big hog operation. I would guess.
Yeah.
Well, the animals are bigger.
Yeah. And so. I think I would guess that the average dairy farm, family-sized dairy farm, probably has debt, and their margins are so tight that there's not really a lot of time available to like where they can get messed with financially and not have to file bankruptcy.
Yeah,
or significantly. Decrease their output because of having to pay bills, and that's my fear. If something like this, the H2A changes in the labor shortages, like I mean maybe robots replace those people, but that's to me seems like a 10 to 12 year type of change for major significant implementation. And I don't know that the average dairy farm has 10 to 12 years to give.
That's interesting. I am very curious who's going to make the money off of the robots, because every company right now that is like forward thinking is scraping their brain, forward thinking business wise, scraping their brain on how they can make their product a subscription. The chance that Lely introduces those robots and goes, for a one-time fee, $20,000, you can have the robot. Yeah. No, for $4,000 per year, you can have the robot, right? And and then now you've just got like another input cost, and who's going to make the margin on it? It's going to be the robot makers, And I'm very interested to see how autonomous vehicles.
Oh, you're thinking. Nobody's going to even own a car anymore. It's going to all be leased.
Absolutely. Did you not see the World Economic Forum? You'll own nothing and be happy.
And the rights to the software that run your autonomous vehicle, you have to pay a subscription fee for.
Exactly. And I think that is going to be the case. Now, don't get me wrong. The robot companies, don't worry, we fully service it. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is own the cattle and the land. And then there's other, then the bank technically owns both of those. So what are you? A hired hand. You're a hired hand in between whose name's signed on all the paperwork and has all the liability, but and you're not making the money as we've seen on this. So
well, it's the story with ag consolidation and become an employee on your own, not your own land.
Yeah. Ag.
All right, let's quick find something positive to talk about.
Yeah. I have been really encouraged. I don't know why, but I think the rain cycle hit butterfly milkweed perfect this year.
Yeah, it's awesome. You see it everywhere.
It looks amazing.
Unfortunately, it also hit wild parsnip really well.
It's so bad, dude. The wild parsnip.
I've seen wild parsnip where I've never seen wild parsnip.
Ken's got it grown in his laundry basket. I always see that butterfly milkweed, and there's a ton of people I know that handpick prairie species, and I'll I just saw a good spot on public land where you, but almost always it's butterfly milkweed or butterfly weed and wild parsnip right next to each other, or you have to walk through like a 10-foot thick line of it to get to the butterfly.
Well, and the thing about butterfly weed too, which is why we don't grow it anymore, is it's got such a wide range for maturing.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to pick it every day.
Yeah. Yeah, for like a
month.
month. Yeah. That swamp milkweed isn't as bad, but it is pretty bad. Common milkweed's not as bad. Maybe not. I just think common milkweed maybe produces more seed. So getting 40% of common milkweed is way more seed than, 40% of world milkweed on an acre field is like 8 seeds. Yeah. It's terrible. World milkweed does not produce any seeds. So if you're like, why is world milkweed $1,000 and common milkweed's 70 or 100 or whatever? That is why. It doesn't produce
it's
any
hard
seed.
to harvest.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next time.